This episode is brought to you by DistroKid.
The mountains are calling, and you must go. Nemacolin's Rod and Range Club is the premier sporting clay destination in the Laurel Highlands, open to the public and ready to elevate your shooting and fishing game. The Rod and Range Club features 2 clay shooting courses with 31 stations, 2 5-stands, private stream access, a 3D archery course, guided hunts and fishing trips, Orvis fishing instruction, and more. Rentals and yearly memberships are available to the public. Visit rodandrangeclub.com for more information.
Hey everyone, today's guest is Jose Prieto, lead vocalist and guitarist for the Brooklyn, New York punk rock band MakeWar. Together we tackle the writing, recording, and inspiration behind the fan favorite single, Oh Brother, taken from their 2019 album, Get It Together. Upon preparing for this episode, I couldn't figure out who produced this song, but Jose quickly informed me that it was none other than Brett Romnes, better known as The Rat, who we've discussed here a few times on Chris DeMakes a Podcast. The production here is outstanding, and the lyrics tell a story of doubt and fear that are outweighed by pure ambition and motivation. Jose is a native of Venezuela, just another kid with a punk rock dream of being a musician, defying every odd, and most importantly, doing it all on his own terms. Oh Brother is almost 3 minutes of heartfelt, catchy punk rock with a very unorthodox arrangement. And that, to me, makes this song so special. So for all this and a whole lot more, don't touch that dial.
Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a Podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a Podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a Podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a Podcast.
Jose, how's it going?
Good, Chris. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You're in England right now. You're already sipping on a pint of, what was that, Stella Artois?
It's called San Miguel.
San Miguel.
It's I just really like the glass, the pint. So I was like, just give me one of those, and it looks perfect. Look the amount of foam. It's perfect.
Yes, it's the perfect head on that beer. How's the tour going over there?
Really good, man. Really, really good. We're about to start our 5 days with Authority Zero. And I can't wait for that. They're friends, and we're playing with them tonight here in Stafford, and it's going to be cool.
Well, tell those boys that I said hello, because they are dear friends of mine. I love the Authority Zero gang. You guys are based out of Brooklyn, New York, and you were formed out of the ashes of your solo project, Sad and French, which is really interesting because the first album in 2015 from MakeWar's, when you did re-recorded full band reinventions and re-recordings of Sad and French songs.
Yes.
So, a lot of times when I've done things in the past, or I'll go and try to, unearth old demos or ideas, I kind of hit a wall with them again. I'm like, I tried this before. I can't figure out what, the puzzle for this particular song. This is really interesting. You went back. I guess you believed in the songs enough to want to give them another shot.
I did, and I always wanted those songs to be full band. That was my plan since the beginning. And once we found a drummer that we liked, then I moved automatically into electric guitar, and Edwin moved from upright bass to electric bass. And once we started jamming, we were all like, shit, this sounds really good. This sounds like it was meant to be for this, right? So what we decided we're like, all right, we sound like a completely different band now. So let's change our name. Let's record these songs because we like him enough to do that, but also to have something to go on tour, because we couldn't go on tour with just a acoustic record sounding as a punk band. So we recorded that in 2 days. It was a super quick live Brooklyn studio, 2 days, and we put it out as soon as possible so we can show people listen, we're not a folk punk band anymore. We're a punk rock band now. So please, keep us in mind.
Well, on paper, it was a few short years of the trajectory of your band. In 2016, you recorded your first proper album, Developing a Theory of Integrity. And then November 2019, you released Get It Together, your debut for Fat Records, which has the track Oh Brother on it that we're going to be breaking down and talking about today. One thing, Jose, I couldn't find any info on the producer or studio for the Get It Together album. Who produced this record?
Do you know the band I Am the Avalanche?
Yes. Okay. Let me guess. The Rat recorded this.
The Rat.
It's okay, man. It sounds awesome. I've loved everything that guy touches.
Seriously, me too.
Yeah, I had I Am the Avalanche on here, and it's just fantastic. His productions and what he's done. In fact, that I Am the Avalanche, I think that was the first thing he did. I'm like, if this is the first thing he did, this is absolutely incredible. So you tracked with the Rat.
Yeah. We became good friends with them by just living in Brooklyn, hanging out at bars. Like we started playing with them and stuff, and then it was natural. The Rat was like, listen, I have this new studio that I'm working at called Barbershop in New Jersey, and I wanna record you guys. I'm like, all right, fucking let's do it.
Well, I understand you were born in Miami, but you were raised in Venezuela, then moved back to Miami when you were 18 years old. And were you writing music when you were in Venezuela and doing the solo thing there, or was it just when you came back?
No. When I was in Venezuela, I had a punk band called the Go-Go Punkers.
Okay.
We wrote the songs in Spanish, and then I used to put them in my Windows computer and like hit a button for this program called Power Translator, and then Power Translator would like translate the songs into English, and we sang it in English, or like what I thought English was, because I didn't speak any English back then. But like,
I'm sure the lyrics translated like, "You, my friend, good, yes."
It's really funny. And the way I pronounce things, I was like, oh man, like guitar, I used to say guitar, like hospital, I used to say like, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. So like our plan was to like, sing in English, like do punk rock and like move to the States and do the thing, that was my plan. Like as soon as I graduated high school, I'm like, all right, guys, like, I'm going to move first. Like, I'm going to bring our demos. I'm going to send it to everyone. I'll send them to like, Epitaph, Fat, like Hopeless, like every little label that I knew. And, nothing happened, of course, because we were like 17 and like barely spoke English. And like, I mean, I feel like the music was good, but it's just like, I don't know.
Did you ever feel that either because of the language barrier or where you were from that this was going to be difficult? Because I've talked to people that live, outside of the States that dreamed of being on Fat or Epitaph, and that it just never thought it could come to fruition.
You know what? Like as a hopeless dreamer teenager, like I thought it was possible. I was like, I always thought like, oh, it'll be easy. I'll just go there, work at a McDonald's or something, and like, we'll buy a cheap car and like we'll just go on tour. Like that's like, and then it was way harder than I thought.
I was going to say,
sure.
Yeah. But, at that point, when we have youth on our side, it's like, we're invincible. I'll go sleep on anywhere and wake up anywhere as long as there's a show. Take us back if you can. Well, first off, this production sounds amazing. I love this song. I had not heard it before, and it's catchy from the time it starts to the time it ends, and it's a really interesting arrangement, and I can't wait to get in and start talking about that. But take us back to writing Oh Brother. What was your headspace, and what was the inspiration here?
When I heard that we were going to do this podcast, I tried to really remember because it's been so long, But I remember being in my apartment in Brooklyn and just with an acoustic guitar in my hand and just like noodling things. And then the intro came out just like that. I was just like dring, 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 and it came out, and then I hit an E automatically, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, this could be a song. Like even though the intro sounds like a lot of intros out there, like I feel like the Avalanche has something similar. I feel like the Men Singers has something similar. Like it's like a catchy little thing that you do with the first two strings on the guitar, But
sure,
I love it. Yeah.
It sounds like honest rock and roll to me. I could hear Social Distortion doing it. I could hear Super Suckers doing it.
Oh fuck yeah,
it's great. You may say it sounds samey and everyone else has done it, but the part's awesome.
Thank you. So yeah, I remember doing that little doodly thing, and then if I remember correctly, the chords like came automatic because they're simple chords, like there's something that you do and that's what it's meant to be for the chords. And then I think the first line of the song also came back like I just sang it like because that's something that I was thinking already. I was in like a weird space at the time because I was out of jobs, like in and out, and I'm coming from a background of graphic design and art direction in advertising. So I remember like just looking on Facebook and like a bunch of my friends were like posting like for some reason like in that week like, oh, I just got this new job as like creative director here. I just got this new job as like CCO there. And I quit the advertising job, like my full-time jobs, like back in 2011, I think, because I just wanted to tour. I'm like, all right, I'm just, I'm going to take freelancers jobs here and there. It doesn't matter what job I take, as long as they pay me enough to go on tour. That was my plan. Yeah. And then I was just like, fuck, did I make a mistake?
And did you make a mistake? And the answer is yes. As musicians, we make mistakes every day, right? Yeah, it's like that first phone call. What are you going to do with your life, son? Mom, I'm going to be a rock star. What's your backup plan?
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the backup plan is whatever the backup plan's going to be at that time, I guess.
Well, funny thing about the backup plan is that I did that instead at first. So I went to college instead of doing the band because I listened to my dad, like luckily, and he's like, why don't you do college and then do the music? Because you're really good at art and graphic design, like maybe go to college first and then try the music, and then you always have this backup.
Sure.
And I'm really glad that I listened to him.
Yeah, that's absolute sage advice. Your father's a champion. Yeah, for real. I mean, I tried to do it that way too, but I ended up dropping out and jumping into a van after my second year of college. So, but I had every intention to go that path too, and that was advice from my mom and dad. And to this day, I still think about finishing college. It's like a thorn in my side.
I mean, funny is that to this day, I still think about what would have happened if I didn't go to college and I just did straight music. Would have been faster. Would have been like, yeah, because like I started doing this for real like after on my 30s instead of my 20s. So it's like now I'm 41 and I'm like touring. I'm in a band and like it's like I'm uncomfortable and like, but it's what I want to do. Yeah.
You could have told me you were 31. I would believe it. Shave the mustache off. You're 24.
Oh,
I mean, boom!
Thanks,
just
Chris.
like that. MakeWar's new album, A Paradoxical Theory of Change, came out on Fat this past June 28th. Congratulations on the new record. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I want to jump into the track right now. It's 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Again, interesting arrangement here, and I want to kind of pick your brain about this. We got a 4-bar, what I'm calling a musical intro. The stereo guitars are doing this open string riff you were just talking about over a double time kick and snare. The production sounds amazing with a question mark, and I now know that the Rat took care of this. Bass guitar joins in on the very next part, which I'm calling this the vocal intro, because we get the verse after this. This is really interesting, though. It's like an intro for the song, and lyrically, it sets up what you're going to talk about for the rest of the song. It's really interesting.
All my friends are going places, and I'm just burning all the bridges. They seem to have it all worked out, and I'm just trying to keep it loud. This is where the story goes. This is how I lost my voice.
All my friends are going places, and I'm just burning all the bridges. They've seemed to have it all worked out, and I'm just trying to keep it loud. This is where the story goes. This is how I lost my voice.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really good when you say it that way. So yeah, like I said, I was like really in a bad spot then, like looking at all my friends, like all my advertising friends just getting this killer jobs with like killer, basically just killer jobs. And I was just still freelancing, like doing pretty good, but just doing the most shitty freelance gigs ever, basically production shit. And I'm like, I'm better than this. Like, I know this. Like, I'm so much. I could be like a creative director now. I could be, but because I only care about the money to go on tour, like I took any jobs. Like it didn't matter if it was for, like for a website banner or like a website or fucking ExxonMobil. Like that. I'm just like, like I just need money to spread my word outside. That's what I did.
You were grinding.
I was grinding. Yeah. Grinding in my own way. Yeah.
So what were you trying to say here with that? This is how you lost your voice. You're screaming out in frustration.
I think this song started with the lyrics as like me talking to my young self. Like that's how I wanted to start the song.
Yeah.
And as soon as I'll take you there, but as soon as I kept writing, I was like, oh no, this is a song for my little brother. And then so it could be a song for both of us, because my little brother is basically me. He's like 23 now, I think. And he's doing what I should have done. Like he's just going straight to the music. Like he's just like, he went straight.
Cool.
And because I feel like it's because like I kind of push him, and even my dad pushed him too. Cause he's like really good. And like, we were all like pushing him. Like I was like, okay, like fucking let's do this,
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, now I love hearing the inspiration and what the song's about, because then I can go here, because I've been listening to this song nonstop for the past couple days, probably listened to it 40 times, and now I can see all my friends are going places. I'm just burning the bridges. They seem to have it all worked out. So that all makes sense here. The lead vocal sounds doubled here. Is it doubled?
I don't think it's double. No.
You don't? Then there's some kind of, maybe some kind of effect on it. The first two lines, we have overlapping vocal tracks. So when you say places, you're already saying and for the next line. I've talked about that on this show before. As singers, we'll do overdubs like that sometimes in the studio, and then we'll go to do it live and go, uh-oh. You're able to pull this off live, though. I've watched videos. It seems pretty flawless.
Yeah.
And there's harmonies here on the second line, and I'm just burning all the bridges. On the fourth line, and I'm just trying to keep it loud. On the last line, this is how I lost my voice. After that line, there's 4 bars of the band rocking away to set up for what I'm calling verse 1.
When I was 15, I didn't care about anyone. High school was just another distraction. With no highs but lows and fucking ups. But that's when I found it, and it sounded like feelings. I didn't get the words, but I knew they had meaning. I was lost and found the sound that made me feel alive.
When I was 15, I didn't care about anyone. High school was just another distraction. With no highs but lows and fucking ups.
I was really bad at high school, like really, really bad. I never care about it. All I did was like draw on my sketchbook and like listen to punk rock at recess. Like that's what I did. And my parents always started pushing me, always like, and I think something that they did a little wrong, and I've talked to this a lot in therapy, is that they always like when in my middle brother, they always told him like, all right, you can go to Disney World, you can do this, and you cannot do that because you failed this class and because you did this. And, like they were trying to push me like to do better with things like that, and I never did it. So I still feel pretty bad about that. But I'm just trying to talk about high school and how shitty it was for me, and how unimportant it was. Like I just didn't care at all about it.
Okay. Some cool things here. I love the panning of the harmonies in this first half of verse 1. You get the left and right panning on anyone and the word distraction. The stereo guitars go to 8th note palm mutes here, and the drums are playing a more subtle rock beat. On the line, another distraction, there's another guitar panned off left that is playing its own little melody. And then we get into the second half of verse 2. But that's when I found it, and it sounded like feelings. I didn't get the words, but I knew they had meaning. I was lost and found, the sound that made me feel alive.
So yeah, here I'm talking about the first time I listened to this album that I think it changed my life. And I'm basically talking about Let's Talk About Feelings by Lagwagon.
Okay, great.
And when I'm saying that, like the words, I didn't understand the words, but I knew they had meaning, is because I did not speak any English then. But I love the way Joey Cape like did the melodies and like everything that he did. And I was like, and the whole music, like that record, I still get chills when I listen to it. It was my favorite. The first record I listened to, I was like, holy shit, this is the record.
Yeah. Second half here, the stereo guitars get a bit choppier on the back half of verse 1. There's also another guitar panned off left that's playing this like staccato, almost percussive little part there. I love what the guitar is doing there. Do you recall how that was played? Was it sounds kind of like a clean tone with maybe some echo on it. It's really interesting.
I cannot recall it. I remember just like trying many things on this song with the rap, because like we knew this was a song for the record. We automatically knew like this is going to be the single.
Cool. Well, on the line Feelings, we get a call and response. It's like this filtered vocal. Again, it's panned left and right with lots of delay. We also get that on Meaning, that call and response pan left and right. And am I hearing some woo like vocal pads tucked back in here on the second half of verse 1? On like the last 3 lines, there's like, ooh, like it's there, but it's way back, or it's a guitar or something with like a chorus effect. I can't tell.
I didn't get the words, but I knew they had meaning. I was lost and found.
Anyways, I swear I'm hearing some woos there. And maybe you did them, maybe you forgot. Maybe the rat snuck in the studio and did some woos himself.
I forgot. I don't know. I can't remember that.
That's a fair assessment. Again, on the last line, the sound that made me feel alive. We get an overlapping vocal that takes us into chorus 1.
Made me feel alive. Welcome to the world of punks, freaks and geeks and silly drugs. Welcome to starting a band, skipping school when surf gets high.
Welcome to the world of punk. Freaks and geeks and silly drugs. Welcome to starting a band. Skipping school when surf gets high.
Yes, I'm talking about like this new friendships that I made through listening to punk rock, and like how we were all like surfing and skateboarding. We smoked a little bit of pot. You know, we weren't like that bad, but like, so I say silly drugs. We drank beers, we smoked pot, and then we just went surfing. You know, this is like, okay, like, fuck yeah, this is my friends, and this basically was making me feel alive at the moment, because I was such a like, you know, high school was terrible, like, you know, hated my mom and dad back then. I love them now, but you know, it's like typically like teenage like angst shit.
Okay, and would you call this the chorus? That's what I'm calling it.
I know, like I don't think this song has a chorus. Like I think I would call this a pre-chorus. But then he doesn't have a chorus, you know?
Okay. Well, I'm calling it the chorus because we do get this part again in a little bit with different lyrics. Okay. On chorus 1, what I'm calling the chorus, we get harmonies on every line. The stereo guitars are like buzzsaws here. The tone of the bass guitar is just ripping. The noodly guitar is riffing away, predominantly panned off right in the mix here. This chorus is really powerful and catchy as ever. The one thing I did notice was the line, welcome to starting a band. Well, the first 2 lines, it's a soft rhyme. Welcome to the world of punk, freaks and geeks and silly drugs. Welcome to starting a band, skipping school when surf gets high. And that reminded me right there, the rhyme scheme doesn't happen with band, hand, sand, whatever. And a lot of times it doesn't need to. But we overthink it as songwriters, okay? I've had producers say, why isn't it rhyming there? It sounds weird. Then you get into your own head. Do you recall thinking about that with this? Because what I'm calling the second chorus, we do get a rhyme there, which we'll get to in a little bit. Did that ever enter your thoughts?
No, because I'm not a fan of like doing rhymes that just for the reason of doing rhymes. Like if it rhymes, it rhymes, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I'm more of like if it sounds good, it sounds good. Like if it sounds good together, like how you call those rhymes? They don't rhyme, but they just sound kind of similar.
I call them soft rhymes.
Yeah. Okay. Soft rhyme. I'm a big fan of soft rhymes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we get soft rhymes all over the second chorus, but see, I would have changed that line and I would have made it worse. Okay. I'd have been like, welcome to starting a band, skipping school, hitting the sand. Okay. It kind of means the same thing as the surf. And then my band would look at me and they go, dude, there's a reason you're not the lyricist. Stop.
I mean, if you're into skateboarding, like hitting the sand, that's cool. Instead of surfing.
Hey, everybody, don't go anywhere. We got lots more with Jose coming right up after a few words from our sponsors.
Looking to elevate your music career? DistroKid is a digital music distribution service that enables musicians to distribute their music to online stores and streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, and many more. DistroKid collects earnings and payments, sending them to you, the artist. With DistroKid, artists unlock a world of possibilities. From easily paying collaborators with splits to securing your music with DistroLock, DistroKid covers all bases. Plus, you can promote your releases with Hyperfollow and create eye-catching visuals with a Spotify Canvas generator, all for free. But that's not all. Introducing the DistroKid app, now available on iOS and Android. Artists can manage their releases, view streaming stats, and withdraw earnings, all from the palm of their hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. With its simple interface and customizable mastering options, artists can make their music sound polished and professional within minutes. And don't forget about Instant Share, DistroKid's newest feature. Share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more, ensuring your music streams at the highest quality. Ready to take your music to the next level? Download the DistroKid app and explore their suite of tools today. Plus, listeners can enjoy 30% off their first year by visiting distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes. That's distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes. Hey there, Chris DeMakes a Podcast listeners. Ready to take your podcast experience to the next level? By signing up for the supporting cast at chrisdemakes.com, you not only ensure the continued production of our show, but also unlock exclusive perks. Subscribers receive a weekly bonus episode of our other podcast, The After Party, co-hosted by Chris Fafalius and myself. Many fans rave that The After Party is just as enjoyable as the main show. And with close to 200 music-centric episodes in the archive, there's a treasure trove of entertainment awaiting you. Thank you for tuning in and for your support in keeping the podcast going strong. Join us at chrisdemakes.com and let's keep the fun conversations going.
And now, back to the show.
Verse 2, right out of chorus 1 into verse 2.
By 22, I forgot what I was doing. Just getting lost inside my father's wishes of trading music and adventure for a desk with limitations.
By 22, I forgot what I was doing. Just getting lost inside my father's wishes. I love that line. Of trading music and adventure for a desk with limitations. This kind of speaks volumes to me now, this verse, now that I know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm basically, talking about my dad and how he really wanted me to be like a professional, like someone with like a real job. And I mean, that's what, I guess that's what everyone wants for their kids. I don't have kids, but like, I don't want that for my brother. So it's different with me. And this is why I don't have kids perhaps, but like, I don't know. But yeah, that's what I was talking about then.
Be careful what you wish for. I thought I was scot-free at 40 years old, and at 43, I had my son. So you're only 41, pal.
I don't think so.
Be careful what you don't wish for. I love these lines. The just getting lost inside my father's wishes, and for a desk with limitations. Is that just a desk and a chair, or are you in a cubicle there?
I mean, no. I'm in a cubicle, perhaps, like back then, because yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris will probably edit that out. Maybe he won't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Verse 2, the stereo guitars, the bass and drums are all in. It's back to the eighth note chug on guitars, like the first half of verse 1. And it's interesting that the noodly guitar overdub starts off right in this verse, and then it slowly pans to the left over the course of verse 2. And I also hear that staccato guitar from the second half of verse 1 panned off here right, very subtle on like the third and fourth lines of verse 2. Do you recall talking about that panning? It's really cool.
No, Chris, and I'm sorry. I should have listened to the song. I thought we were going to talk about like the lyrics mainly.
Oh, no problem.
No, but let me say this. The thing is, we are a 3-piece band, and when we play live, like I try to play as many noodly things as I can, but while I'm singing, it's fucking hard. So
God, yeah.
Exactly, and I haven't listened to that song probably since it came out. Like, but the way we play it now, I like it so much that the way we play it now, to me, is a real song at the moment.
No, and that's a great point. I don't think I've had anybody after 220 odd episodes here on the show ever say what you said, like, man, I've been playing it so long live like this, or we're a 3-piece, and yeah, we do overdubs in the studio. I really don't know what you're talking about. And same thing here. I don't, someone were to ask me about a song 30 years ago, I'd have to probably listen to it to hear that. But there's some really cool panning, what the Rat did there. And then we get into chorus 2, we get that vocal overlap again from Limitations and Welcome on the first lines. We get the same first word, welcome, but the rest of the lyrics are different here. It's the same overall instrumentation as chorus 1. And on the last 2 lines here, you get a soft in the ballpark rhyme. That's what I put in the notes here. Here in chorus 2. Welcome to your 9 to 5. If you call in sick, you better be dying. Welcome to stability, the king of boredom and routine.
I'm getting chills to listen to you saying that like that, because I actually never heard it like as spoken as that.
Well,
it's cool.
We're on the chill zone together because I got him reading because I can relate to those so much and I don't know if you ever listened to my band, but our drummer Vinny, our former drummer Vinny, who wrote our lyrics in the early days in the band, he would write things like this, and it was coming from kind of the same place of he saw his father doing the grind, and as you said, all our parents want the best for us, and they think that this is the right way. For me, it was you have to go to college, and now it's not so much that way anymore. There's so many opportunities out there. There's kids that can run circles. Heck, my 7 and 6-year-old can run circles around me on certain aspects on the computer now. It's just like, what is going on? Because that's all that they have ever known. Out of chorus 2, we get into the bridge, and I absolutely love this part. Much like the choruses, the bridge are stereo guitars, bass, drums, and the riff guitar is panned off right.
Do you remember when we were truly happy? 3 simple chords and everyone is dancing. I'm looking forward to the time again, and I'll say, hey, stop wasting time, you got this.
Do you remember when we were truly happy? 3 simple chords and everyone is dancing. I'm looking forward to that time again. And I'll say, hey, stop wasting time. You got this.
So here's the part that I'm still talking about. I'm still talking to my younger self. Like, I'm still talking about how I'm thinking about the Go-Go Punkers days. I'm thinking about like parties in like basements in Venezuela and Caracas, or like little clubs and everyone moshing and everyone singing. And I'm just remembering that time and how much I wanted this life that I have now, instead of thinking about my friends and what they're doing and and I'm thinking also about like how miserable I was, like working like 120-hour weeks in like this like advertising campaigns that like it didn't make any sense or or they were like to try to sell fucking nothing, like a soap or whatever. You know, it's like this makes it's so shitty. It's like, why am I spending so much time and I'm so anxious all the time, like because I need to present something, I need to do this, instead of just like doing this other thing that I always wanted to do since I was a kid.
Well, how many times have we heard or had friends that, you know, they're knocking down six figures, they're at this job, they're working 70 hours a week, they have zero time for anything outside of work. They have all this money and they're miserable because they're unfulfilled. They're peddling a product they could care less about. They're just getting up and going through the motions and doing it. And I can totally relate to that. I wanted to ask you about the harmonies in this song. Do you sing all of them, or the other guys in the band sing them? They're very interesting, and where the placements are really cool in this song. Is that all you on the backups?
I think it's me double, and then Edwin, our bass player, also singing harmonies. Because I told the Rat that I wanted, like, because Edwin needs to do these harmonies live, so he's like, all right, you better fucking start like singing these harmonies here, and he's killing it right now. Like when we sing that song live, like we both sound like angels, you know. And our new drummer too, like he throws like a third harmony there, and it's like really fucking cool. Yeah,
you got Phil Collins on the drums, a singing drummer. I love it.
And I remember, like, actually, a cool part about this bridge. I remember writing that bridge in the studio. We didn't have that bridge for the song.
I'm glad you said that. I wanted to ask you, Did you do a demo of this song? I couldn't find one online.
We did a demo at the studio with the Rat before we went fully in. And like when and the Rat did the drums in the computer, you know, like he did he did like the main, And I remember telling them, me and Edwin and the Rat, like this song needs something else. And I, you know, as soon as the song stopped there, I kept on playing and I sang over that part, just like melodies. And the Rat was like, well, I think you wrote it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Well, this bridge is awesome. And we get harmonies on Truly Happy. On the second line, one is dancing. Not everyone is dancing, just on one. And I love things like that, where you go in and say, we're not going to put the harmony on the whole word, you know? And a lot of times you'll do the whole word and you'll just mute it and you'll just have the second half of the word. But I love the placement here. Third line, we get a harmony on Time Again. And then the last line. And it's this kind of subtleties that I absolutely love, and it makes it personal. I talk about this a lot in the show. The harmonies are on And I'll Say, but then you alone say, hey. That's personal, hey. And then you get harmonies on Stop Wasting Time, you got this. Do you remember talking about that at all, where the harmony placement was, or did you sing on everything and when the Rat went to mix it, he just kind of kept what he wanted?
No, I think you and the Rat were like in the same minds. You know, he told me that. He's like, you know, like, let's do the personal things by you and then the harmonies like together. Yes. That's really funny. That's really good. Yeah.
I never thought about that. Like listening to songs all these years and wondering why certain parts hit you a certain way. And I'll go back and listen to those records from my youth. And I swear from this show, I analyze songs different. Sometimes probably to my own detriment. You know, you just want the song to hit you and just feel it, not overthink it. But I'll be like, going back to these songs, like, oh, now I know why that one word hits me, because they cranked it in the mix, that hey, right there. His vocal's sitting here for the rest of the song, and it's those subtleties, man. You don't know it. All those little things make a song great. We get out of the bridge, and we get into a verse 3 coda. What is this part? An outro?
No, I think it's an outro, yeah.
It's an outro? I'm going to call it a verse 3 outro. And it's interesting, Jose, because we're only at the 2 minute and 1 second part of the song. Okay, so you've heard a lot of information. There's been a lot of song. There's been no fat on the bone at all. And we get down here, and the last 52 seconds of the song are this verse 3 coda outro, whatever we want to call it.
I want you to follow what makes you feel different. I want you to struggle, pay your dues, get blisters. I want you to dream big, bigger than I ever did. I want you to fight for it. I want you to fall in love again. I want you to lose your voice too, screaming your
I want you to follow what makes you feel different. I want you to struggle, pay your dues, get blisters. I want you to dream big, bigger than I ever did. I want you to fight for it against the odds. I want you to fall in love again against the rules. I want you to lose your voice too. Oh man, that line gets me. Screaming your heart out, sing your heart out. And it gets me now more than the past couple days that I've been preparing for this episode, because are you talking about your brother here now at him? Pay your dues, get blisters. I want you to dream big. And is that still kind of in relation to yourself here? A lot of powerful lines.
I think this is like towards my brother completely. We had like a bit of an argument then because he wanted everything so fast. Like he wanted a producer, he wanted a manager, he had one song and he's like, this is the best song I ever wrote. Like I'm like, slow down, brother. Like slow the fuck down, like you have to. And I try to tell him that. I try to tell my dad that. And at some point I made a little fun of him to my dad on a text, and he read it, sorry. And that made me feel so bad that I wrote him a big letter after that, but kind of explaining him like why I did that and, how shitty I was. And I wrote this bar I think I was in Mexico with my partner, just like finally having a good vacation. And I wrote this bar on the beach while thinking of him. And yeah, this is all for him. It's all like get blisters, get like, I want you to dream bigger than I did. And when I say I want you to fall in love again against the rules, I talk about how he's so much like me, or used to be so much like me, that we think that our first love is like the only love that we're only going to have. He was like very, very heartbroken then. And I'm just telling him like, listen, it's going to pass. It's going to pass. It's going to be better. Don't worry about it. So that's what I'm trying to put in here. So the beginning of the song, I was talking to my younger self, and here I'm talking to my brother. And when I thought about this, this is why I call it "Oh Brother," is because when I left Venezuela in 2001, and he was only 1 year old. So I basically didn't grow up with him. Like he didn't grow up with me. And somehow we ended up being the same person. Like he plays guitar, he like sings like as cool as me, or better than me. And
it sounds to me, I mean, you're like double his age almost.
Yes.
You're kind of like a father figure to him. And I could see why you get angry. You want the best for him, but at the same time, you're also seeing yourself in him,
Yes.
and the pitfalls, the mistakes. Again, I got chills. That's a really cool story.
Yeah, it's that. It's definitely that. Like I'm half your age, and I want to try to teach you what I thought someone like could teach me, And at some point, we were touring. Like he actually came touring with me in 2022. He came on tour in the van, and then at some point, I'm trying to tell him all these things, more things, and he told me like, listen, like maybe I just need to learn this by myself, And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Like, This is the best way. Like, you definitely need to learn this by yourself. Like, I should stop like telling you what to do.
Well, I think that's the hardest part about being an older brother or a parent. Sometimes you got to clip your siblings or your children's wings. You gotta let them fly.
Yeah, man.
Gotta let them fly on their own. Well, some great things happening here. The eighth note chug guitar is panned off right, and a hi-hat here until Pay Your Dues. So the first couple lines is just that eighth note stereo guitar. Overdub guitar is panned off left. It comes in on the line, Pay Your Dues, and continues for the rest of this verse. And I want you to dream big. The drums, tom buildup starts here and progresses as the snare and cymbals eventually crescendo, and the whole band comes back in for what I'm calling the outro of this song. We'll get there in a moment. Bass guitar is also in here on the line, I want you to dream big. We get a harmony on Bigger Than I Ever Did. We get a harmony on Fight For It. And then Against the Odds, there's a call and response backing vocal. We get a harmony on Fall in Love Again. Against the Rules, call and response backing vocal, and we get a harmony on Lose Your Voice too. On the line, Screaming Your Heart Out, the whole band comes back in, rocking away, and we get that open string riff panned off right. for 4 bars here at the end. I'm calling a musical outro. It's just stereo guitars and drums. The bass is dropped out even here, playing the musical intro from the top of the song, and the song ends. Very odd arrangement, but it's perfect. Whatever came out here and you recorded, to me, came out perfect. The production, everything's great. And now that I know the story behind the lyrics, they mean so much more to me than before.
Thank you, Chris. It means a lot. I sometimes when I write songs, like I mean, you know this, like we don't know where it comes from. Like we're just noodling things, and like if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know. And I heard you say this all the time in your podcast, and like the songs that are most popular are the songs that are like that come out so easy. You know, like the easier songs that you write are always the ones that people really resonate to, and this was one of them.
That's awesome. Lastly, what did your brother think of this when he heard it?
He loves this song. He really likes it. He sang it with me a couple of times. Like, yeah, he's great, man. Like, I after this, I'll send you some of his stuff because he's incredible. He sings in Spanish only, but he's like really cool. Yeah. I
would love to hear it. Well, the new record, A Paradoxical Theory of Change, is out now on Fat Records. What else is coming up? I know you're in England right now over with Authority Zero playing some shows. What else is up for MakeWar?
We're playing Fest. You know, and we're playing the big stage of Fest for the first time, and I'm very excited about.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. We're also playing another festival called Break Even Fest in Washington, D.C. We're doing some Midwest shows with this like rad ska band called The Write-Ups, who are, I don't know if you have you ever met Dallas? Dallas from Detroit?
Dallas from Detroit. Gosh, I used to know a Dallas. It's been many years, and I don't know if he was from Detroit, but I don't know.
Well, he's our tour manager, and him and the guitar player from the Write-Ups are touring with us right now as merch guy, tour manager, and they're great. And like they convinced us to go on tour with them in Detroit. And they're like, we're gonna bring so much people, man. It's gonna be awesome. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's fucking go on tour there. That's gonna happen in October. And then I don't know, like the world's our oyster. Like this is the record that. This is the first record on Fat that didn't have a pandemic right next to it, you know? So I feel like I hope that this record does way bigger than Get It Together because not a pandemic, you know?
Yeah, you can go out and promote it.
Exactly, yeah.
Right on. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking the time out. Do you have a show tonight or you have a day off today?
No, we have a show tonight. Our first show with Authority Zero in the Red Room in Stafford. The Red Room in Stafford, UK. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, have a great rest of the tour and say hi to the fellas for me.
I will do. Thank you, Chris.
We will never get back. Wasted. Every night is separated. Sometimes love can be a drag. Lately, I've been contemplating leaving New York.
Hey everybody, the song you're hearing is Goodbye to All That, taken from MakeWar's new album, A Paradoxical Theory of Change. So go check that out, and don't go anywhere. We got lots more Chris DeMakes a Podcast coming right up after a few words from our sponsors.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey friends, have you been loving Chris DeMakes a Podcast? Well, spread the love by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't hesitate to share what you enjoy about the show in an actual written review on Apple Podcasts. Not only does it help more people discover us, but we often read reviews in the wrap segment of the show. It's a quick, cost-free way to support us and takes just a minute of your time. Your reviews mean the world to us and help us keep the podcast thriving. Thank you for being a listener, and thank you for being a friend.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Chris DeMakes a Podcast, email your best song via MP3 only and a short bio to bandyoumighttnotknow@gmail.com. This week's featured artist is College Radio from Seattle, Washington. These guys blend classic 90s punk with modern pop and indie. Their first full-length album, Nothing Ever Changes, It Only Gets Worse, is out now. Here's a snippet of their song, I'm Sorry.
But it's like a buzzing little noise that just won't quit, and you're not quite sure if you imagined it. I think there's something you should know. I walk through my life like a ghost.
The Wrap with Chris and Chris.
Well, Chris, I really enjoyed this episode. I guess I say that about all episodes, but I really do mean it. You know, Jose hit on a lot of things that I was like, well, I completely relate with that. One of those being grinding and making enough money to keep going with music, doing whatever it takes to keep going with music. That's the story of my life, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, the perseverance. I mean, he's out there now, and we're seeing this more and more, Chris. We're seeing guys that are now in their early to mid, late 30s, in Jose's case, 41 years old, going out and being able to make a dent in music. When there was a time you would have been looked at as a dinosaur. Oh, you're too old. You can't follow this dream. You can't do it. And his perseverance has paid off. I even had asked him, I said, well, was there ever doubt or fear? Like, how am I going to do this? And, here's a kid that came from Venezuela, could barely speak English. And here he is on Fat Records.
I don't see why age has anything to do with writing a great song. I don't care if you're 13 or you're 63. If you write a great song or you write a lot of great songs, there's no reason that people can't hear them and like them. Nowadays, more than ever, when you are in control of your own destiny, now more than ever, and not really at the will of a record label for the most part. You can do whatever. He talked about college versus hitting the road. Chris, I know you and I both experienced that. You went for what, a year and a half, 2 years, and then
about 2, yeah,
and then things picked up for less than Jake. My experience was I was lucky. I finished college, and our guitarist Paul finished high school at the same time. But then Steve and PJ from our band, they had finished 3 years of college, but they had to stop. They both eventually went back and got their degree years and years later. But the time was right. We were signing to a record label. We were being offered tours, and we just had to go for it. Sometimes life kind of steers you in the direction. But when he was talking about that, I thought that was interesting too. I'm sure anybody out there who's younger and pursuing music, that's a choice you have to make. And it's not always easy, especially when you have parents chiming in on it and yourself, your own battle about it. So yeah, I thought that was interesting too, hearing him talk about that.
Sometimes you got to seize the day, seize the moment, like got to do this right now. But there's also times where you have to have someone. It's good to have an outsider. In this case, it was Jose for his younger brother saying, hey man, put on the brakes here. You're not getting on a label and getting a producer and getting on the next hot tour in the next month. Like, give yourself a second. You got to get out there. You got to make some mistakes.
It's cool that he can be that for his brother. It sounds like it's like the next generation of person, and it's so similar to him. This is the first time we've heard anything like this before, on this show. It's interesting.
He's like a father figure to his brother. He's,
right.
He could, in age, he could almost be his father. So that I found that very interesting.
Yeah, it was cool. And Chris, we were looking for it. We should have known. The Rat produced this. Brett Romnes, awesome guy, awesome producer, someone that I've, in my band, have known forever, and I really want to record with at some point because everything he records sounds awesome.
The Rat keeps chewing through the studio walls, Chris, and getting to the next project. Every time we turn around, and you know what? It doesn't surprise me. That bass tone on here, and I mentioned that for the Eye and the Avalanche episode, and he did something else too that we did that I can't recall off the top of my head right now.
What's her name? Hot Mulligan.
It was Hot Mulligan. Okay.
Yep.
I love what this guy's doing, and this recording just sounds honest and real and big and great.
Yeah, it's awesome. I thought it was cool too, Chris. Jose said that he had no idea why he arranged the song he did. It just came out that way. And he said it in the episode too, that sometimes those songs that just pour out of you, those end up being the best songs, right? I mean, not over analyzing the song structure, just putting your feelings out there and the way it comes out, your natural instincts, resonates with people.
Yeah, and sometimes when you write a song without a definitive chorus or something, I mean, I've written stuff that just kind of meanders, and you're like, well, what's the point of this song? It doesn't really have a pinnacle, or it doesn't have a chorus, or that type of thing. And in this case, it doesn't need it. It tells a story, and I'll say it again, I absolutely love the vocal intro at the top of the song before verse 1, how that kind of just sets up everything and foreshadows what is to come. I like that he goes back and forth between first person of being about himself, but also relating to his brother. This came from a really cool spot.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know at what point in my life I felt the need to follow standard song structures. And, our band definitely didn't write songs that way back in the day. At some point, you kind of learn the right way. I'm making quotes with my hands when I say that. And you've said it a million times, Chris. It's hard to get back to that once you have these things in your head about the way to write a song. And it's cool to hear about a song that isn't like that. And especially when you're a punk rock band, I think you're free to write the way you want to write.
That's right. And if you're listening to this, you're free to join our supporting cast over at ChrisDeMakes.com, where you get bonus episodes each week of Chris and I. It's called The After Party, and we talk even more than we talk now, and people seem to love it. ChrisDeMakes.com. We love your support.
My friend Matt Kelly, and last night when we went and got some Mexican food for dinner, my friend Johnny, both tell me that they listen to the after party first on Mondays. And I don't know if that's a slam on the main show or just they really love the after party that much. But yeah, people do seem to like the after party at ChrisDeMakes.com.
Maybe we have it backwards, Chris. Maybe the after party should be the main show, and then every Thursday we dole out 10 minutes of the main show. Maybe that'll get us more listeners. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. But hey, ChrisDeMakes.com. We appreciate the support. It helps keep the lights on, quite literally, because it helps, especially me, pay my bills and stuff. So if you join, you help us continue making the show, and we appreciate it. And also, Chris, I want to note that we really appreciate those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can comment on particular episodes on Spotify. They don't have the reviews thing like Apple Podcasts does. Apple Podcasts, we do appreciate those reviews. I usually read one. I don't have one ready to go today, Chris. Sorry.
We don't want a 4-star review.
No.
4.5 stars, 4 3/4. We want the 5-star review, and they've been fantastic. And thank you. People do, thumb through their Apple Podcasts and look sometimes, and they see reviews, and because of those reviews, they will check out the show. So that's awesome. Give Chris Fafalius a follow on Instagram, and give me a follow at Less Than Christy. And don't forget, we have an Instagram, Chris DeMakes a Podcast page, as well as a Facebook group, Chris DeMakes a Podcast, with over 5,000 active members. It's a great place to go and hang out and talk more stuff at Chris and I and everybody else that's in there. And that's about it. I want to thank this week's guest, Jose Prieto, for sitting in with us, and we'll see you next week.
One Hit Thunder is a podcast where we both celebrate and have a good laugh about bands and artists that had just one hit that we all know. Each week, we're joined by a guest from the world of music or comedy to learn more than you ever thought you would about some songs that you can't forget. And we decide if they brought the one-hit thunder or were nothing more than a one-hit blunder. Look, if you listen to the show, you're probably going to laugh, and I guarantee you're going to crush next time the bar has music trivia. Tag Team, Jane Child, Meredith Brooks, Looking Glass, Sean Mullins, Eiffel 65, EMF, Crash Test Dummies, Crazy Town, Chumbawamba. We have hundreds of episodes in our back catalog and a new episode each week, so pass the Dutchie, make sure you're connected, and subscribe to One Hit Thunder wherever you get your pods.
Your dream job may be running your own cafe, your own bike shop, or your own Italian folk dance studio. At Optimum Business, our dream job is helping your business run smoothly. With the Optimum Business Triple Play, you'll get secure internet, one unlimited mobile line, and business phone. It's all customized to your business, and it starts at $100 a month. Talk about a dream come true. Call 844-707-0174 or visit Optimum.com/business. Optimum Business, where local is big time.
Head to the mountains for the perfect chance to win big at the Casino at Nemacolin. Newly renovated, the Casino at Nemacolin features 26 table games, 500 slots, and a new high roller lounge. Tickle your taste buds at the Royale, their new dinner restaurant. Dining is available 7 days a week. On Friday and Saturday nights, enjoy live music with no cover charge. Your next big jackpot awaits. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. Must be 21 and over with ID to enter the casino. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.